I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Game face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise.
Hello and welcome to a very, very special episode of the Jam Session Goes Underground. This is the season finale. So I wanted to do a special episode with a very special guest. She has been on my show, The Warrior Within. So welcome to the Jam Session Goes Underground behind the camera lens. I have an amazing photographer on the show today, so you all are in for an incredible treat. She does concert photography. She does amazing outdoor photography. She takes photography of mushrooms and stuff, nature and all of that, and she's incredible at what she does. I always love having her on my shows because she's so easy to talk to. We could probably talk for hours and hours and hours, but this show is around an hour, unfortunately. But that's okay because she can always come back to my show. I always appreciate her being on my show. So like I said, this is the season finale of the Jam Session Goes Underground special episode behind the camera lens. And my very special guest is Tammie Birdwell.
Hi, everybody. If I had known it was the season finale, I would have thought of a cliffhanger for the end, but I didn't know. So happy season finale.
Thank you for being on my show. I always enjoy you being on my show. You're so easy to talk to, and I
love
talk
it.
to you
I wasn't
for
even
hours.
nervous. Yeah, I wasn't even nervous this time. I had such a good time last time. Yeah, this is great.
I'm a little tired. I worked all day, but this is fun. This is fun for me. So
Yes,
this is a good way to relax
quickly. And I've been thinking all day about what to talk about, so I won't even make you talk that much. But go ahead with whatever questions you might have.
Okay. Like I had mentioned, Tammie is a concert photographer, which is amazing, but she does way more than concert photography. I'm not going to limit her abilities to just concert photography, but because this is the Jam Session Goes Underground, we need to talk about it. There are highs and lows to concert photography, and what many of you do not know is the negative side and the lows to concert photography is, yes, Tammie may get a press pass or she may get a free ticket to get into the concert and take photos, but she is working her ass off for that ticket. Like, a lot of times there is weather that is going on. It's super, super hot outside and there's not fans and there is, not a whole lot to cool a person down. So she is working her ass off for that ticket and for the ability to do the photography. And photography, being a concert photographer, is hard in itself because you have to keep at a fast pace.
It's quick. It's real quick. It's real quick. I will say to those who are just starting out and wondering how to get into it, not quite the same as doing the bigger stuff like festivals and TLC and everybody. So you have more time, but generally once you get to a certain level, you've got 3 songs and you've got to go. So you've got to get every single shot that you want of that band with the exception of the crowd shots in the first 3 songs. And sometimes they give you 2. So it's fast and you have to be on time and you can't be late. And yeah, I've now added 2 more cameras to my kit since the last time we spoke. So I'm weighing about an extra 30 pounds now. But I don't have to waste any time switching my lenses, which is helping me get even more good pictures. So that's one trick. That it took me 3 years to get extra cameras.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely not for the faint of heart. You've got to really, really want this. You got to have a passion for it, because if you don't have a passion for it, it's not going to work out.
Yes, because trust me, the coolness of like being backstage and being able to be in the photo pit, yeah, that's cool. Like the first couple of times, and then you're used to it, so it's not, it's work. It's work, especially when it's 95 degrees outside and there's nowhere to cool down, and you've just got to keep going. Sort of just pretend it's not hot somehow. I'm not good at that. The last festival I did, everybody kept coming up to me going, "Are you okay?" I must have looked awful. I was okay, but I must not have looked okay.
Oh goodness. I will be inserting a photo of something similar of how hard it is.
Yes. That one luckily had an air conditioned office for us. That's the only festival I've ever, but that photo is me laying on the floor of the air conditioned office, and I stayed there for 2 hours. I'm really glad I was working with a team that day, because we still didn't miss any coverage and they had my back, which was awesome.
But like a couple of my friends just went to a major rock fest. I forget where it's at, but there was some pretty mainstream bands there, and they got to go, and I think that's incredible. But it's hard on the musicians. I can only imagine, like they provide the musicians with more than the concert photographers and the press. And so I can only imagine how the press feels if they're not, doing much for the musicians.
Yes. I mean, most of the musicians have either an air-conditioned trailer or at least an air-conditioned car they can hop in. I made it through this last one without needing air conditioning. I shot every band, even on the 90-degree day. I will say the band that surprised me on Sunday, I had never heard of them before. They are called Rubble Bucket. And if you have a chance, you should check them out, because they don't sound. Before they went on, I said, "Who do they sound like?" And all the other photographers were like, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be good." And it was even better than I thought. It was like 5 o'clock, right? 6. So everybody was hot and dying and done. But then Rubble Bucket came out and everybody's off their feet. The horn players had flowers on their, it was lovely. Check them out. They're amazing. But yeah, I had a really good time.
I will put a link to them in the description if I can find them, so you all in the audience can find them.
It's just like it sounds. Rubble Bucket, all one word. Yep.
I will look them up. I will be sure to put them in the description. So like I said, there's highs and lows. What has been some of the highs for you at these concerts?
Some of the highs. I can't remember the last time. Have we spoken since I shot TLC and Shaggy and En Vogue and everybody?
I had seen the pictures, and I really like.
I feel like our Warrior Within was before that, though. Okay, so I have stories about that one. If you're thinking about getting into concert photography, understand that there are 3 major different kinds, right? So there's the smaller stuff in the 200 capacity venues, right? Where there's not really a photo pit. You've got to kind of fight the crowd to get to the front, but when you have your camera, it's okay. Then there's, of course, the slightly larger venues where you have a smaller like pit in the front where they allow the photographers to go for the first 3 songs. Or, a festival. A festival will do the same thing. They'll have the pit for you to go first 3 songs. However, the large amphitheaters, when I shot TLC and everybody, I had no idea this was even a thing that happened. There was a pit, but they didn't let us in it. They made us shoot from about 50 feet back in the near the soundboard. And the guy who I was shooting for had let me borrow a camera that I didn't turn on until I got to the show. I had no idea how to use it. I did not do good on my Sean Kingston shots because I thought I could get away with using my Canon, but I was completely wrong and they were not good. But I asked for help from another photographer that was there, and he helped me get the settings. And one of the highlights, I think, of my career so far has been the fact Shaggy was last. Shaggy was last to go, and unlike the other 3 acts, Shaggy gave us 2 songs instead of 3. So we only had 2 songs to get every shot we wanted. And the very first song was all red lights and smoke. And unless you're a photographer, you don't know, red lights and smoke are like, they're evil. It's really, really, really hard. Yes. It's like the lighting designers do it on purpose. Like, fuck you.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So the first song was just all red lights and smoke, and I got a couple of decent, but then, and so understand, this is the biggest show I've ever done. It's the 4th act. I'm pretty sure I'm getting shots, but I don't want to run the battery down to check. So I still don't know. I don't know how I'm doing. And the security guy, they didn't let us go in the pit. That's the one thing. But for the security guy to let whoever wanted to come stand in our spot. So I'm fighting about 70 people, have 2 songs to try to get every shot of Shaggy. And so I'm like, I'm mad. I'm stressed out, the red lights and smoke and people. But then the second song started up, the lights immediately changed, and it was Mr. Bombastic, which happens to be, I don't listen to popular music really, but it happens to be one of my favorite popular songs of all time. And I also happen to think Shaggy is beautiful. So I get excited, I'm trying and I'm looking, and suddenly Shaggy put the microphone in his pants.
Oh no.
And my and he was doing like the swirly thing with his hips with the microphone in his pants, and my entire brain just exploded. Like I blacked out. All I really remember is screaming. Because at that point, everything just broke. All the stress, all the people, all the excitement, everything just came out in one guttural scream. Oops, sorry. And then I think, oh my God, I get home and I'm like, I didn't get a single shot of Shaggy. There's no way. There's no way I got, but I got a shot of him with the microphone in his pants. So I proved to myself that even when I black out completely, I could get the shot. I still got the shot of Shaggy with the microphone in his pants. So that's been one of my proudest moments. And I mean, making it through a 3-day festival has been quite a feat this season. I think I have long haul COVID from my first festival that I worked this year. So yeah. And I'm branching out. I'm hoping to be booked for Bad Religion in October.
Oh,
because I want to get some jump. Like jam bands don't really jump or use fire. There's certain things I want to start taking photos of that just I can't get from jam bands. So I'm trying to branch out at the moment. But yeah,
Yeah, that would
yeah, that's been the highlight of my year. And getting my new gear. My new gear came from someone very special to me who helped me get medical cannabis passed in PA actually.
Oh,
And
okay.
he used the one camera body that he sold me. He used to shoot the cover of High Times.
Oh, wow.
So I get
That's
goosebumps every time I talk about because it means so much to me. It
yeah,
means so much to me, like and I'm getting some incredible shots with it.
that's good. That
I
is good.
Yeah,
That is
yeah, it's
so
the full frame versus the crop frame sensor, but yeah. The question people ask me most is how you get into this.
yeah.
And there are several different routes. I got very lucky and just happened to move here and meet everybody that was running all of the sites. And so before I started taking photos, I was going to the show and covering them by writing about them. And that was it. I wasn't taking any photos. I wasn't trying to go up with my phone, Uh, yeah. Um, so that's how I got into it. If you're looking to get into it, you need a portfolio. And how do you get a portfolio? You go to the small shows. You go to the small shows where the bands are going to appreciate that you're there taking a photo of them. The security's not, because if you try to take a camera into like TLC, for example, security's not letting you in. They're not letting you in with that gear. You're not allowed in with it. But the smaller venues aren't like that. So that's what I recommend. Start in the smaller venues. Speak to photographers that you see out. Like if you go to a music festival and you see a photographer running around, speak to one. When they're not shooting. Speak to one. Ask them for an introduction to someone. Just network yourself.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. And just build your portfolio in those smaller clubs, because trust me, those smaller bands, they're going to love you for it, because nobody else is there taking their photo and nobody else is helping them build, and they need those high quality photos for their websites and things like that. And it helps both of you because it gains
Yeah.
traction, it gets you attention, and it gets them attention because they're not posting crappy phone photos to their social media.
Yeah. Yeah, that
So
I have a friend who I've been friends with him for a really, really long time, and he used to own a music store. Told me, he's like, reach out to their tour manager. If you're wanting to do a bigger band, just reach out to their tour manager, bypass the venue, like the
yes.
people who are running the venue. And I was like, yeah, I'll try again. I've tried that before, but I will definitely try again. It doesn't
That's 100% true, especially if you have a link to like a portfolio you can send them, proof that you can do what you say you can do. Reach out, offer them. From what I've been seeing, the larger bands like that, people offer 20 to 25 full resolution files. That's for the people working for the bands and not for, pardon me, and not for like for me, I work for, websites and things like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes bands are starting to ask me now. I've been, yeah.
That's so awesome.
It is awesome. It is awesome. And then it's really awesome to be talking to one band and they were like, yeah, we were talking to this other band about you. That made me feel really good too. I was like, yeah.
That's always incredible when that happens. Like I remember taking photos. I think I took photos. No, I didn't bring my camera, but I could have taken photos. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I could have taken photos because it was at a outdoor concert at a state fair.
Yep, you could have. Those are the ones that get. There's no security checking your camera bag. You could get, yeah, those two. I didn't think of that. Good addition.
This particular musician is amazing. He has been in the mainstream. He's been signed up with Interscope Records. So I'm going to give a shout out to him, which I have not done before on here. But his name is John Ojaka. So he's an incredible musician. And
Where's he from?
he is from Hawaii.
Okay. He's not the guy I'm thinking of.
He's from Hawaii, but he's done it. He's been an extra on the show ER.
Oh, cool.
Some of his music has been played like on I think it was the Spider-Man soundtrack, and one of his most popular songs is Back in 1999. So
okay.
I will put a link in the description to some of his music because I am acquainted with him on Facebook, but like
That's awesome.
I never hit him up. I always feel bad because I'm like, I'm not going to bother him. He's probably super busy and he's in a totally different time zone than myself.
Yes.
So
I mean, I hear that. I understand. And frankly, you gotta play it cool.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the wrong call for you.
No.
You know, you gotta play it cool, you know, because I mean, it happened to me so much faster than I thought it was going to. Yeah. I mean, I blinked and I was shooting Trey Anastasio.
Yeah.
You know, in an arena with 30,000 people there. Oh. And just you just got to play it cool. But also, I'm not going to lie, I had on my N95 mask just so you couldn't see me up in the pit saying, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. The whole time.
Yeah, that's how I felt like when I've met some of these musicians. Like I had the privilege of actually meeting one of my favorite musicians, Chris Motionless from Motionless in White, and they're my all-time favorite band. And awesome. I met him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my heart is racing. Play cool, baby. It's just a person who happens to be famous from his talent. So
yeah, you do. I mean, even it's still, and I have to say, it stays exciting. Yeah. You know, one of my favorite musicians actually played at the festival I did last weekend. And I've known his wife for a while. She has 3 little kids. We talk a lot. We get existential about motherhood quick. You know, like we're backstage hanging out. Yeah. So as I was leaving on Saturday, you know, I was pulling my wagon out with all my gear and I went to tell her bye. And so she was standing there telling me a little gossip, which was cool. Like really good gossip. I won't tell, I'm not saying a word. But anyway, so Mahali is her husband. He walked out of the bus and again, when I'm backstage with them, if I see them and we make eye contact, I wave, but I leave them alone. I don't try to take their picture backstage. I don't, you know what I mean? I just leave them alone. You know, and I've never tried to I'm not one of those photographers that takes pictures of the musicians' kids. You know, lots of photographers do that for, you know, okay, and that's not a good idea. No. Don't do that. Or, you know, if you're like me and you're friends with the mom, take a few of the kids, send them to the mom. That's it. Don't put them online. Don't use the musicians' children for your promotion. But anyway, so I'm standing there talking to Mahali and his wife, and I had enough time to tell Mahali because he's the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, Twiddle, which is going on hiatus, and Mahali's going to keep doing his thing. And I told him how happy I am that he's going to keep doing his solo thing because his music means so much to me. He's maybe the most incredible lyricist out there, in my opinion. I mean, his lyrics are just off the charts. And he's got, in his band now, he's got my friend Scott Hannay, who's going to be on keys, who's crushes. and he's got Adrian Tramontano on drums, which John Fishman from Fish called Adrian his favorite drummer. If that tells you how good Adrian is. Adrian is, so it's like the dream team of people, and they're making music that I love, and I got to tell him that. And then I got to hug Mahali and his three-way hug. And I held it together the whole time. I held it together the whole time. I was on my way out the door with the wagon. I held it together. And then I got to the car and I just lost it. Like I started crying, but like happy tears. I'm like, that was the coolest thing that's ever happened. Oh my God. But you got to hold it together. Even my autistic butt could hold it together. I held it together. But yeah. That is the exciting, it is the really, really good part about it. It's hard work, but those moments make it worth it.
Yeah, it seems so surreal. Like, I haven't gotten to be a concert photographer yet. It could happen.
You will. You will.
It could. But I went to the Billy Idol concert not too long ago, and we were front, like up front.
Awesome. Yeah.
And he was getting tickled at me and the lady next to me, and I'm like, oh my God. Billy Idol is laughing at me. He's getting tickled at me. He's staring at me. Billy freaking Idol.
Yeah. No, I know.
I fangirled a little bit because I'm like, yes, it's Billy Idol.
Yes.
And I
learned really. Yeah. Luckily, I learned right before I got approved to shoot Shaggy and TLC and En Vogue. I did Memorial Meltdown, which was another festival, and I was really excited to shoot Giant Panda Gorilla Dub Squad because they're one of my favorite bands too, and I had never gotten to see them live, let alone shoot them. And so I was really starstruck, and I noticed that my photos of them were not as good as my photos of the bands that I had, done before. And then, of course, my very next show is TLC, En Vogue, and all of them. And I'm like, okay, you can't get starstruck. And luckily, I was so focused on trying to work that damn camera. Like, I didn't have time to be up until he stuck the mic in his pants. When he stuck the mic in his pants, it was a wash. But before then, up till then, I didn't let myself get starstruck. I held it in check because I learned that was a thing. It affects my photography.
Yeah.
So
I should take it back a little bit. I have done concert photography, but like not any mainstream concert photography. The only photography that I've done is on my phone camera, which I happen to luck out and have a really good phone camera.
I've seen some really good shots from phones. Yeah, I've seen some really good shots from phones, and honestly, that might be just enough to get you at, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're willing to work for a ticket.
Yeah.
And that's walking a fine line because lots of seasoned photographers get a little angry at those of us who kind of work for free for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how they think we're supposed to build our portfolio without working for the smaller guys for free. So that one doesn't make any sense for me. And I think they're just being salty for no reason.
Yeah.
But that's just my take on it. That being said, don't let people take advantage of you. I was working for a publication. And after I was booked for 4 more shows at SPAC, which SPAC is the big amphitheater. It's where Fish just did their big, benefit show for the floods, etc. I didn't know until I shot TLC there that shooting from the soundboard was even a thing that happened. I didn't know that was even a thing that happened sometimes. And because the camera was borrowed, I knew I didn't have the gear because I had Tears for Fears coming up. So I messaged the guy I was shooting for and I said, hey, I didn't even know this was a thing until 4 days ago. But now that I know it's a thing, I'm a little concerned. And he got nasty. By the way, He's
Oh,
never paid me a dime.
oh
I
goodness.
do I write, I do the review and the photo gallery for him. He's never paid me. He he got me to work for him again by promising to pay and then never paying me. But I was
Oh
still like,
goodness.
okay, I'll go. I want to see Tears for Fears. Sure, I'll shoot for you. But then when I realized that I might not be able to do a good job, I reached out to him. Like, first of all, maybe when you're trying to find people to shoot back, you need to let them know that sometimes it's from the soundboard because we don't all have 400 millimeter lenses. I don't. I still don't.
Uh, I don't.
um,
I don't either. I have a professional camera, but I don't have a lens like that.
right, right. I don't either. I've got a lot of decent ones, and I can get some really good crowd shots now, and I can get some really good shots from the pit. But I can't shoot soundboard with the gear that I have. I'd have to rent one, and since you're not
Yeah.
paying me, I'm not spending $600 to rent this lens. And so, moral of the story is, as awesome as it is, and as much as you might want to see these bands, we have to, as a collective, we have to stop letting these people treat us this way, because otherwise they're just going to keep finding new people to treat that way. So I think it's less about working for free and more about, I think that's the wrong conversation. I think we should be talking about the dudes who are making money off of us and paying us nothing.
Yeah.
We're having the wrong conversation.
Yeah, and that reminds me of, I worked for a radio station. I was a radio DJ. And I worked for an NPR radio station, and I did an interview with a musician. I don't even remember the musician's name. I hate to say that. Like, he made me so mad
Okay.
because he treated me so horrible. Like, it wasn't my fault that our phone connection, because we had to do the interview over the phone and put it through the soundboard. It wasn't my fault that the connection was staticky and horrible. And I told him, I said, I'm really, really sorry. I'm trying to get a good connection. And he's like, just forget it. Forget it. And he was in the city, and it was really, really windy, and you could hear all the sound coming from his end. It wasn't technically my fault.
Right. Of course not. Yes, I think, and I've made it my personal mission this summer. When I see new photographers, or, when we're backstage talking about things, I bring it up. Like, don't work for this guy. Don't do it. And I'm not telling you that because I'm being competitive. I don't work for him either, but he is an asshole.
Yeah.
And everybody knows he's an asshole, but yet somehow he still has all this power. It makes very little sense to me. I think that as a group, we need to start having a new conversation and start pushing these assholes out.
Yeah, exactly.
And getting in people. Like, I work for Mirth Films now. That's the one I work for. I'm happy to work for him. He's wonderful. He's the best team builder. I hate to admit, he can build a team even better than me. And I'm good at building a team, but he is real good at building a team. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy working for him. I'm shooting for him again in October. Thank God it's not going to be hot.
That'll be good.
Yes, I'm shooting for him in October. He throws a festival called Wild in the Trees. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, that sounds great.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah. Yeah, they're doing one of a guy who was in a band called Aqueous is going to be doing a set. He's going to be doing just covers of Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I think I've almost got my kid talked into coming up for it. So I'm very excited.
See,
and it's a skateboarding competition too, so I might get to shoot. I love shooting skaters.
Oh yeah,
it's a ton of fun.
That would be incredible. That would be something that I would love to shoot.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And the best part about still shots is you don't have to land the tricks. Cause you get the shots of them up in the air, even if they fall, you're like, whoop, no one knows.
Magic.
Yep, yep, like magic. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love taking, just carnival photos, like anything like that.
Yep.
I love taking those as well.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to branching out. I want to take some pictures with fire in it. I
There's some heavy metal bands that can do that.
I know, that's what I went into a group called Concert Photography, and I'm seeing all these pictures with like guitarists jumping in the air, and I'm like, man, I want that. I want that. I want that. And fire? Yes.
Yeah. Pyrotechnics.
Yes. Yes, I want to go to there. That
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking to branch out because yeah, I've been mostly shooting jam stuff and I like it, but I never was a jam band girl. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So now I'm branching out, which is fine because Frankie loves the jam band stuff and he's my boss and he can have it. Just give me Bad Religion and all the weird drag queen shows and stuff. I love it. I'm here for it. Yep.
Yes. Makes for a really great photography.
Yep.
Most definitely.
I got to shoot DJ Logic.
Oh,
And I was a DJ myself on turntables a long time ago. That's
cool.
So, but everybody told me it was during the festival that I had the heat stroke at from the photo that you showed earlier. It wasn't actually a heat stroke, but it was close. Anyway, he was the last guy on the ticket. And on the last day of the festival, we had a rainstorm. So for like 2 hours, we had to shut the whole thing down. So everything was 2 hours behind. But then the band that played before DJ Logic's band did like 2 extra hours for some reason. And I was exhausted by this point. And I told my partner, I'm like, I swear to God, if DJ Logic is up there on CD players, I'm punching everybody on the way out the door. I'm like, I am only here to shoot turntables.
I'm done.
If it's not, everybody's getting punched. So we actually, this broke my rule because I usually don't look up the people that I haven't seen. I love to see them live first.
Yeah.
But we Googled him and every photo there was turntable. Yes. So that was another highlight of my summer. I got turntable photos and it was awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very exciting.
But if you all in the audience didn't notice, I did put a link to Tammie's link tree at the very, very beginning in the intro. So you should check out some of her stuff. She is very, very talented. I'm just going to mention that now. And then of course I will put all the links in the description of the show.
Awesome.
But yeah,
awesome.
like concert photography, just it's wonderful. Like it's amazing, fast. But it can be so tiring. It's so tiring.
Yes.
I know as a DJ, I had my moments of like ups and downs. Like I said, with that musician that was really, really rude to me. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not even going to remember your name because you were so rude to me. And then I have people like John Ojaka that I've met in person, and he's just super, super sweet, super nice. I've met Ray Benson from Asleep at the Wheel, super nice guy, really, really awesome. I have met some incredible musicians and celebrities that are just nothing but sweet. So, I mean, there are those ones that are really, really hard to work with, and you just kind of you got to grin and bear it and make the best of the situation.
I will say this about photography. It's mostly men. It's there's been more women popping up, but it's a pretty male dominated field. However, that being said, and I know I'm probably the exception, and I know that I'm going to run into an asshole one of these days, but I mean, I've asked what I consider to be pretty dumb questions to, like, professional been in Rolling Stone photographers, and they're
Oh,
all nice. Like, I
that's
haven't
good.
had a single photographer be a jerk to me
That's
ever.
good.
Not ever. That's security, yes. Photographers, no. I mean,
Yeah.
clearly, don't bother them when they're shooting. Don't bother them when they're working. But like, they're we're a good bunch. Most of us are neurospicy. That's another thing I've noticed. Most of us we're either on the spectrum or we're ADHD or both, like me. And we've just found that photography at shows is how we see music. If I wasn't
Yeah.
taking pictures, I wouldn't want to be there. I would be crawling out of my skin because I didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I've told my husband. I'm like, I really don't want to go to a concert. This is going to sound terrible. It's going to sound absolutely terrible. But I usually don't want to go to a concert unless I could be up front, row center. And the reason why I say that is because I can get those good shots on my
yep,
phone, and I'm trying to build my portfolio up. I do have a portfolio on upick.com, but a lot of those are nature photography. I do have some of the concert photos that I've taken on there, but like I
yeah,
want to build that portfolio up, and
yep,
the way I can do that right now is to be
yep,
front row and center.
yep,
But
yep.
I told
Well,
my
like I
husband, I
said,
was like, I want to be there.
yep. The perfect spot to do that is in a smaller venue. The
Yeah,
security doesn't mind that you have your camera because no one stops people from bringing their cameras into. Like, I have dirt wire on Thursday up at Putnam Place in Saratoga Springs. Nobody's going to
yeah,
mind if someone else brings a camera. They don't check.
yeah,
It's yeah. That's how you do it. That's how you get those shots. And people are
yeah,
much more likely to move out of your way when you have a big camera than when you just have your phone.
yeah,
They
exactly.
assume they assume you're either there with the band or you're there with someone else, which I am. But even if you're not, you can pretend you are. And
Just
then
own
very
it.
likely, see, at those moments, that's possibly somebody else is there, and they can come up and go, "Hey, who are you here shooting for?" And when you say me, boom, there's a conversation, there's a connection,
Yeah,
networking. They're probably that. That's how you do it.
yeah,
It's that
most
easy. You just got to talk to people.
that's like I don't have a hard time talking to people whatsoever. Like I'm not shy
Sure.
about it. Like becoming a radio DJ kind of brought me out of my shell. My dad,
Awesome.
I remember my dad when we went to the Sleep with the Will concert. My dad's like, "You don't have to get an autograph." I was like, "Oh, please." So I walk up there, and I was pregnant at the time. I waddle up there. I waddle up there, and I was like, "Hey, Mr. Benson." I was like, "Do you mind if I have an autograph?" And I had my little cassette tape sleeve, and he's like, "You have been a fan for a long time." I was like, "Yes, I grew up listening to you." He's like, "You can have an autograph, sweetheart." And he signed it. And my dad's like, "I can't believe you did that." I was like, "Believe it, I got your
Yep.
autograph."
I'm pretty sure it imprints when they're in utero because my oldest, who's 27 now, was just at Muddy Roots, which is
Yeah.
a huge punk rock. Like, he got to see Dead Milkmen before me, but it's because I
Oh,
saw so many punk. I saw Blink 182 when I was pregnant with him, and this was before. I mean, there was like 10 people there. So I met the band and everything. Um, I saw No Effects when I was pregnant with him. Henry Rollins, spoken word. Like, I went to all these punk rock shows in Austin, and now
yeah.
he's growing up and going to punk. I'm like, but you can be backstage with me at this festival. He's like, nah, mom, I'm going. I'm going. I'll get you up here one day.
My daughter is the exact opposite. Like she wants to be like doing concert photography. She wants to do all of that, and like she has
Awesome.
the whole radio DJ thing in her blood. Like she loves hosting shows and she loves taking photos. And I told her, I said, what if
Awesome.
I ever get to see your favorite band? Like, what if I ever get backstage with them? She's like, you better bring me with you. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited about Bad Religion. I'm
Oh,
really excited about that one. Um, yeah, I've been listening to that band since my kids were babies. Actually, their CD got stuck in our car. So we listened to it all the way from Texas to Pennsylvania and back again one Christmas.
that works.
so yeah, it's a very big deal that I'm getting to shoot them. I'm excited for that one.
That's awesome. My mom and dad, this is going to date me, I guess, but my mom and dad left me with my aunt and uncle when I was younger to go. I think it was them. They went to see them in concert. So, like, that is really awesome that you're getting
Yeah,
to do that. Like, I'm excited for you. That's incredible.
yeah, yeah. Like I'm thinking I won't get any jump shots probably, but maybe, I don't know, because I've seen Fishbone recently and they're also aging, but they
Yeah.
have as much energy as they did when I saw them when I was 19. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah. I'm shocked at the energy level that some of these older musicians have. Good for them.
It's like Billy
Good
Idol.
for them.
Like he's still got energy. Like I'm like,
Right.
you have more energy than I have. How's this possible?
There's got to be something to that life of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? Like that.
Pretty much. Like he's incredible. Like him and Steve Stevens, like his guitarists, they're just incredible, hands down.
Yep. Yep.
And
I
Kelsey
feel
Carter
you.
for them, and I really, really adore her. Like a huge fan of Kelsey Carter. So Kelsey Carter,
Awesome.
if you're watching, hit me up. I'll do some photos for you. But yeah, like it helps to make friends with people in line because there was a wonderful lady that was
Yes.
in line in front of me, and she found out that I love Kelsey Carter. She's like, you're a huge fan of Kelsey Carter. I was like, the biggest fan of Kelsey Carter. I love her so much. And she's like, well, if I can get her set list, I will give it to you. And she got Kelsey Carter's set list and handed it to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so
Oh my
much.
Lord, that's awesome. I got Ziggy Marley's on here. But now that I'm a concert photographer, I don't feel like it's fair.
Yeah.
Like now and then, like if I'm writing about the show, I will take if I can, if it's not a huge one, I will, after asking the band, because it's a whole thing, you're not supposed to see the set list. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to show anybody, but I might not be here the whole time. Let me get a shot of that set list. I'm
Yeah.
not going to show a single soul. The phone's going to be in my butt pocket. We're good. And yeah, most they don't mind that. But yeah, I feel like it's cheating now to grab a set list at the end since I've already gotten to be up there so much. So I let everybody else have them, as long as
That's
I get my photo of it.
that's understandable. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I can understand that one. Like Billy Idol, I was respectful because like security came out there and they're like, please don't just stand and videotape the whole entire time, which I can respect that.
Yes.
I appreciate that security said that. I was there to enjoy the show and maybe get, like a few second clips of Billy Idol
Yes.
and some photos. I think that I maybe got a 1 minute clip of him, and that was the longest that I took. And I also did that with Kelsey Carter since she was his opener. I didn't want to disrespect Billy Idol's wishes, so like I didn't get a whole lot of video, but I got what photos I could.
Right. That's I do the same. Yeah, I forget what I was to say. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yes. I forgot where I was at. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay. You're
My
fine.
brain just went blank. um, oh, videotaping. Yes. The very first time I took a picture edit, I took one after I started shooting mushrooms on my phone. That's where I started. I started taking pictures of mushrooms with my phone in the woods. And then I'm like, uh-oh, now I have a special interest, mushrooms and photography. And then it
Yeah.
just grew into shooting concerts too, which complete opposite ends of the spectrum. But um yeah, if you are, yeah, the very first time I ever took any photos at a show was with my actual camera after I became a photographer. Because it just seems like, unless, like you said, you're right in the front row and you get a really good, you know what I mean? You're not going to get a great,
No.
just stand there, keep your phone in your pocket and enjoy yourself. Although
Yes.
I will say, as a photographer, if you see a photographer come in, hold your phone up, because I don't know about, I can't speak for all photographers, but if I'm walking around the crowd and I see somebody holding their phone up, I'll get one of those cool shots of like the band in the background with the phone and yeah, that's a pretty cool
Yeah.
fun shot to get. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I agree with you. I think you should, whether it's to protect the band's, set list, because they don't want people at the next show knowing what they're playing.
Yeah.
That's why they ask you to do that. I get that. But it's also, you're missing. You're having to pay attention to your phone. You're missing stuff.
Exactly.
I got you. I'll take the pictures. Very likely my boss is here filming. I got you. You're gonna get to see it. Have a good time.
Yeah. Like, I was just more interested in seeing Billy Idol. That's a big deal. Like, you grow up listening to some of these people, and it's just like, wow, I can't believe I'm witnessing them live playing the music that I listen to on the radio. It's incredible. And like Billy Idol, if anybody ever gets a chance, like, this show is not sponsored by Billy Idol, let's say that, but if anybody ever gets a chance to see Billy Idol in concert, please do. Oh my gosh, like,
Awesome.
even at this age, he's still Billy Idol. He's still young at heart and incredible.
Awesome. Awesome. That's how I felt at TLC and everybody. Like when En Vogue
Yeah.
came out on the stage, I was like, oh my God. And again, I had my mask on, so I'm like, holy shit, oh my God. It feels like it's a really big deal. Also, I will say, okay, here's one thing I discovered shooting for them. Okay, when I'm shooting a jam band, right? Like, if I'm shooting a guitarist and he's got like that stank face, I call it stank face. Some people call it bass face. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Okay. So when I'm shooting a jam band and they're doing that, that's what we want.
Yeah.
However, I had never given it any thought. I've shot females before and they're all just gorgeous and none of them ever did the face. However, when I started going through like En Vogue and TLC, they did the face. Like, you remember that picture of Beyonce that got really super, where she was like, and she looked really bad.
Yeah.
She stopped letting photographers into her show. So I had to decide right in that moment, like, what kind of photographer do you want to be? The good kind. Those pictures are gone. No one will ever see those photographs except for me. Nobody needs to see En Vogue making the stank face. Nobody needs to see that. That's not the kind of attention I want. I'm a professional. I'm not going to make anybody look bad, especially a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one.
I can definitely
that was a big one.
Yep. Like, I know this is going to be a difficult question, and if you can't answer it, that's cool.
No, that's okay.
I think that you've already answered it somewhat, but if there is one concert that you could pick as your favorite so far, what would that be?
The TLC one.
Yeah.
Only because that one proved that I can do it.
Yeah.
that was when I changed my job on my Facebook to photographer.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I didn't turn the camera on until I got to the show. I had no idea how to use it. I couldn't get it to work on manual. I didn't do it by myself, but I did with help figure out how to use it. And I ended up with hundreds of usable shots, including Shaggy with the microphone in his pants, completely blacked out. So that proved to me that I was on the right track. Like, it didn't
Yeah.
matter what anybody said before. It didn't matter how many people were asking me to shoot for them. To me, that was my proof.
Yeah.
But there's been other shows that were super fun. Like Rebel Bucket was so much fun to shoot. And another one, Karina Reichman. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's a bass player, but she's been doing her own stuff. She's incredible. She was a lot of fun to shoot. I
Oh,
love to shoot an animated, anybody who's up there completely engrossed in what they're doing. But for me,
yeah.
my biggest moment was doing TLC and everybody. And it wasn't necessarily because of who it was. It was because of all the challenges that I overcame and still got those shots. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one.
And I have
That would
seen
be
some
the
of
one.
those, and I was hoping that you would say that one. Like, I had that in the back of my mind. I was hoping
Yeah.
you would say that.
Yeah.
If you could shoot any band, like I know you're excited about Bad Religion, but what would be your dream band to shoot?
Primus.
Yes.
Or Les Claypool in any iteration of Les Claypool. Like, I just saw a photograph. Apparently Billy Strings had a birthday party. I just saw a photograph yesterday taken on a phone of Billy Strings, Les Claypool, Bob Weir, and Trey Anastasio.
Yeah.
All four of them playing together at Billy Strings' birthday. My eyes just
that's so cool.
Look, there were no photographers there, clearly, because it was just taken on a phone and it was his birthday party. But like that, yeah.
That's cool.
But Primus or Les Claypool's Flying Frog Brigade, they're coming in November. I'm hoping to get that one. Yeah. I happen to love him, and I think he's incredibly interesting looking. And I really want to spend a little time. Yeah.
I think one of my, of course, I talk about Motionless in White all the time. I put in for a press pass for Motionless in White. I'm going to keep trying. But beyond that, Johnny Lang, I would love, love, love to go to a concert of his and actually be in the photo pit for his concert, because he's very animated. He's very passionate about guitar playing and just, I would love that so much.
I will say for anybody just starting out, a lot of bands, especially if they're so big that they're touring in mostly arenas and things like that, when you see them by themselves, the chances of you being in the pit are only about 50-50. It's up to the band. And it seems to me as though sometimes the band changes their mind between one venue and the next. So you never know. The one way to be absolutely sure that you'll get to shoot that band is if they are in a festival that you shoot. That's the one way to be sure, which unfortunately you'll have to work 2 or 3 days straight, and it's hard. But that's a good way to get to shoot some of those bands that are maybe playing in arenas. Like I got Dark Star. I was in the pit for Dark Star Orchestra, at this last festival, which was cool. So really neat. Things like that. The larger band is just something to keep in the back of your mind. Get in touch with the festival organizers. They're always looking for media people. I mean, we had like 7 people on my team, plus more photographers there. For other, some of the band's photographers and, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But it was.
That's like, you have told us some really, really good tips, and I really, really appreciate you sharing that with the audience. Is there anything that you would like to talk about before we close out the show?
Don't touch a photographer while they're working.
Yes.
Don't touch a photographer while they're working. Unless it's some kind of emergency and they're standing on your foot, which I can't see that happening. Don't touch a photographer while they're working. I think that's, and that's for people who aren't trying to shoot. For people who are trying to shoot, just keep doing it. Go to the smaller shows, introduce yourself to the opening band, take as many shots as you possibly can, build that portfolio, and before you know it, you're going to be getting booked.
Yes. Yes, that is some good advice. Like, definitely some good advice. Well, thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you for having me.
You are more than welcome to come back. I always love having you on my show. We could talk for hours.
I know.
It's so easy. But I will put like all the links that you all in the audience need to know in the description. And this is pre-recorded. Oh no, the secret's out, but this is pre-recorded. So
that's
when
how you got to see that picture, though.
Yes. The magic of editing and pre-recording. Yeah. When you all are seeing this, it's going to be on Saturday, and we pre-recorded this, so I will be able to put all of the photos that I'm going to put in this episode, which magic of editing. That's always fun.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'll get to be here for this one.
Oh,
I was actually shooting another festival the last time my Warrior Within aired, but I'll be here on Saturday, so I'll be able to catch up.
Oh, see, there we go. More reason for it to be pre-recorded. That's awesome. But all of you in the audience, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Tammie, for being a guest. You are more than welcome to come back. And until next time, catch you all on the flip side.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
Face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me slack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff.